Welcome to SnowEx Liquid Solutions Introductory Training Module, Intro to Liquid Snow and Ice Control, Basic Strategies, and Essential Tools. This module provides an introduction to liquid snow and ice control operations, including basic strategies and essential tools. We will also review the fundamental what, when, and how of liquid anti-icing and de-icing with pre-wet and their value in the snow and ice control toolbox. It's not a question of either or when it comes to de-icing materials. If you want to achieve optimal results at the lowest cost, you will need both liquid and solid tools in your snow and ice control toolbox. Liquids are not intended to replace solids. However, by adding liquid strategies, you will be able to significantly reduce both the amount of salt needed and the time it will take to achieve desired results. If you were trying to construct something, you wouldn't use a saw to pound a nail or try to cut wood with a hammer. But each tool used for its designated purpose will get the job done faster with a better end result. Just so, liquids serve an irreplaceable function in the snow and ice control toolbox. Liquids can be used in two of the three fundamental snow fighting strategies, and if used appropriately will make the third, plowing, much easier. The most common way liquids are used is to pre-treat or anti-ice customer surfaces prior to the start of a storm to prevent snow and ice from bonding to the pavement, just like spraying cooking oil on a pan prior to cooking in it. This is the most innovative and efficient utilization of liquid tools. Another strategy that uses liquids is in the de-icing process to pre-wet solid de-icers onboard the truck as they are dispersed to the pavement. This jump-starts the brining process required for the material to begin to work. Most of the time, anti-icing should be the first line of defense. However, there will always be times when a storm will get away from you and de-icing measures will be required. Optimal performance outcomes require integration of each of these strategies. To borrow a military analogy, anti-icing is the preemptive strike of snow and ice control strategies. It is a proactive, preventative, bottom-up strategy for the purpose of preventing the bonding of snow and ice to the pavement surface. Snow contractors can anti-ice at 2 points during the order of operations. Most commonly, it is executed as a pre-storm pre-treatment of customer surfaces, typically executed up to 48 hours prior to the onset of a storm. The use of liquids for pre-treating is the best management practice unless the storm is coming in as rain, in which case pre-treated salt may be a better option. The second time in the order of operations that anti-icing can be used effectively is during or after the storm, either as a reapplication or an initial application. Used appropriately, DLA post-treatments are used as a maintenance measure to preserve and extend existing anti-ice conditions. In certain circumstances, DLA can be used instead of plowing to remove a minimal amount of unbonded accumulation on the surface. Whether DLA post-treatments are executed after plowing or as standalone treatment, it is most important that existing accumulation has not formed a bond to the pavement. To continue the analogy, the weapons used to deliver that preemptive strike include truck and UTV-mounted liquid application systems and walk-behind sidewalk sprayers. A hose reel and spray wand are ideal tools for curbs, stairs, cart corrals, and other hard-to-reach places. Material production equipment includes brine-making systems and storage tanks. Standard anti-icing materials include calcium, magnesium, and sodium chloride brine or an enhanced brine blend. Sodium chloride or salt brine is considered to be the most versatile and cost-efficient de-icer at pavement temperatures above 15 degrees. The following are generally accepted best management practice parameters for anti-icing. For pre-treating, surfaces are bare and rain is not forecast prior to the start of the storm. Liquids used for anti-icing will dilute quickly if rain precedes the event, and optimal results are achieved if time is allowed for the application to dry on the surface. Surface temperatures are anticipated to fall between the 15 to 32 degree Fahrenheit range. Pre-treating is the best strategy to prevent black ice and frost. When executing anti-icing post-treatments, it is most important that plowing measures have resulted in close to bare pavement or predominantly anti-ice conditions, and that less than an inch of additional accumulation is anticipated. Do not anti-ice if accumulation has bonded to the pavement, if the storm is coming in as or turning to rain, or if high winds are forecast. When the mission is to pre-treat surfaces, this can be executed at an opportune time up to 48 hours in advance of the storm by spraying a light application of a liquid deicer to the pavement. Snow will begin to accumulate, be run over and compacted, all the while the protective coating on the surface keeps it from forming an ice bond to the pavement. If pre-treatments are properly executed and plowing measures appropriately timed, it will be significantly easier to get a productive scrape, achieving bare pavement. You can follow plowing with either a direct liquid application or a light application of salt, whichever is most appropriate for existing conditions. Look at the difference between the pre-treated section of this parking lot and the side that wasn't. Neither side was plowed. By all accounts, it requires up to 4 times less salt and costs up to 10 times less overall to achieve the result on the upper right than to achieve similar results using the traditional de-icing approach. If anti-icing is the preemptive strike of snow and ice control strategies, de-icing is the countermeasure. It is a reactive defensive top-down strategy executed to soften and break up hard pack to expedite its removal. This is customarily done after plowing to address residual hardpack. There will always be times, even if you change to a more preventative anti-icing approach, when you just can't stay ahead of a storm and de-icing will become necessary. Are you currently using liquids in your operations? One of the most common points of pushback from contractors on liquid snow and ice control is that they feel they're doing just fine without it. What most don't realize is that if they are using salt, they are already using liquids, because salt can't work until it attracts heat and begins to go into solution, forming a brine. It is that brine that eventually gets the de-icing job done. Innovative service providers use liquids intentionally to accelerate that process, increasing operational efficiency and decreasing salt usage. The equipment required to pre-wet is relatively straightforward. A standard truck or UTV salt spreader equipped with a pre-wet system. Sodium, calcium, or magnesium chloride or an enhanced brine are the standard liquid deicers used to pre-wet. Pre-wetting is a very easy entry-level strategy. The best management practice in almost all circumstances is to pre-wet salt during salting measures. Pre-wetting is best done in the auger or chute for best coverage. Using salt brine to pre-wet pre-treated salt or using an enhanced brine with calcium chloride or mag chloride will provide optimal effectiveness at lower temperatures. Pre-wetting is not recommended during freezing rain or extreme cold. Pre-treated salt may be a better option. When the mission is to de-ice, studies show that pre-wet granular de-icers work faster and produce better results than dry ones. The typical application rate is between 6 to 14 gallons of brine per ton of salt, depending on the type of de-icer used. Correctly sized and coated material will produce the best results. Studies also show that pre-wet salt is applied with more precision, resulting in less waste and more retained on the surface. It also accelerates the brining process, producing faster results and requiring up to 30% less salt to do so. In this demonstration, notice how much further the pre-wet salt has penetrated the ice than the dry salt after 20 minutes at 5 degrees Fahrenheit. Pre-wetting achieves improved levels of safety faster, and less material is lost off the surface into green spaces, reducing property damage and cleanup costs. De-icing with pre-wet salt is an excellent entry point for liquids. This strategy requires minimal equipment investment costs and no changes to operations or customer contracts. Properly executed in a process that also incorporates accurate equipment calibration and the monitoring and controlling of material application rates, pre-wetting has been proven to produce better results faster, using a fraction of the salt required for dry salting. There are many benefits of adding liquid anti-icing and pre-wet strategies to the arsenal. They achieve improved levels of service sooner for the customer, including better safety protection and reduced property damage. They utilize less material to achieve goals. And finally, they reduce overhead costs. Thank you for your interest in liquid solutions. We encourage you to take full advantage of the training resources SnowEx provides to train your crew and to add these valuable tools to your winter arsenal. These strategies are further explored and demonstrated in the operations modules on pre and post treating with liquids and de-icing with pre-wet.